I thought we were good. After 5 years together and nearly 3 years engaged, I truly believed Sarah and I were in sync. Our wedding date was set, venue booked, catering finalized, dress picked out. Everything lined up for the big day. I thought we were on the same page. Turns out, I was the only one reading the script. About 6 weeks ago, Sarah told me she was going on a trip to Europe with her college friends. She called it the trip of a lifetime, something they'd talked about doing for years. I wasn't thrilled about it, but I wasn't going to stop her either. I figured, if this is something she needed to do, then fine. I even drove her to the airport, helped with her bags, gave her a kiss, and told her to have an amazing time. That's when she hit me with it. I think we should take a break while I'm gone. She said it so casually, like it was just another item on her packing list. No serious talk beforehand, no conversation about what that even meant. She just dropped it as we were approaching the TSA line. I stood there dumbfounded, the words barely registering in my mind. What do you mean, a break? But before I could even finish the thought, she was gone, waving at me like nothing had happened. I went home confused. I tried to tell myself it was just nerves. Maybe the trip was a bigger deal to her than I realized. Maybe she was overwhelmed. So I waited a day, then two. I called, texted, nothing. Then I realized I was blocked. Phone and messages. Social media, she shut me out completely. That's when it sank in. She meant it. She didn't just need space. She wanted out. And instead of being an adult about it, she took the coward's way out. A break. More like a disappearing act. I gave it 5 days. 5 long days of silence. After that, I was done. I wasn't going to sit around and wait for her to figure out whether I was worth committing to. So I canceled everything. The wedding venue, the catering, the flowers, the DJ. I made sure she wouldn't be moving in with me in March, like we'd planned. I called it. She made her choice. I made mine. Weeks passed. Still nothing. And then, out of nowhere, I got a call. It was her, though I almost didn't recognize the number. She told me she'd be landing Thursday morning. Gave me her flight number like I was supposed to care. She talked like everything was fine, like she hadn't ghosted me for 6 weeks. I paused and asked, what's that got to do with me? Silence. The silence on the other end was golden. She didn't know what to say. I didn't wait for her to figure it out. I blocked her, just like she did to me. Later that day, I realized I had to let people know. Our friends, family, everyone who was planning to attend the wedding. So I sent a message in our group chat. Hey everyone, just letting you know the wedding is canceled. And so is our relationship. I didn't expect it to blow up like it did. People had questions, a lot of them. So I told the truth. I told them Sarah went to Europe, told me we needed a break without warning, then blocked me on everything and disappeared. Most of them were shocked. Some were angry on my behalf. And yeah, that felt kind of nice. Support matters. Around 2 p.m. Sarah finally replied in the chat. She said we should talk, asked me to call her. I told her if she wanted to explain herself, she could do it here where everyone could see it. She didn't like that. She said it was between us, not for public discussion. But she made it public the moment she bailed and ghosted me. She kept trying to message me privately, but I ignored her. I was done. By 6 p.m., she was begging me to pick her up from the airport so we can talk. Nope, not my problem, not anymore. I told her straight up, that was your plan, not mine. I won't lie. A part of me was still hoping she'd come back with some grand explanation, something that would make all this make sense. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't happen. She wasn't going to own it. She wasn't going to apologize in any meaningful way. She had made her choice, and I had to accept that. I spent the next few days putting my life back together. I went through our shared accounts, made sure everything was split. I changed the locks on my apartment. The last thing I needed was a surprise visit from someone who thought she could just stroll back into my life, like nothing had happened. I even started browsing trips of my own. If she could run off to Europe for 6 weeks, maybe I deserved a vacation too. Hell, I knew I did. So that's where things stood. She was back in town, but I wasn't waiting at the gate. She could find her own ride home. As far as I was concerned, that chapter of my life was officially closed. I was hoping that would be the end of it. But no. Not long after Sarah came back, I started hearing from people. The first was Emily, a mutual friend. She sent me a screenshot from a separate group chat, one I wasn't in. Sarah was in there spinning a whole new narrative. According to her, she didn't mean for the break to last that long. She just needed some time to clear her head. Said she was overwhelmed by wedding pressure. Claimed she thought I'd understand. Oh, and get this. She told them I canceled everything before she had a chance to talk to me. Yeah. The same person who blocked me on every platform for 6 weeks, suddenly acting like I was the one who cut off communication. I was furious, not because she wanted to tell her side, but because her version of the truth was a complete rewrite of what actually happened. So I addressed it head on. I went back into the original group chat with all our close friends and family. I laid it out clearly. Sarah decided we were taking a break without asking me. Then she blocked me on every channel and disappeared for 6 weeks. Now she's acting like this was a misunderstanding. I canceled the wedding because I wasn't going to wait around for someone who couldn't even respect me enough to have a conversation. Support rolled in almost instantly. People started messaging me, privately, saying how wrong the situation was, how I didn't deserve that. Jake, one of my closest friends, even spoke up in the group chat. Sarah, you can't just ghost someone and expect everything to be fine when you come back. That's not how relationships work. I appreciated that more than he probably realized. But, of course, the drama didn't stop there. Sarah's friend Megan jumped in, defending her. She started talking about how stressed Sarah had been, how tough planning a wedding was, and how maybe I acted too quickly. I snapped, Megan, with all due respect, you don't know the half of it. This isn't about stress. Sarah completely shut me out. She blocked me and didn't speak to me for 6 weeks. I tried calling. I texted. I reached out. I got nothing. If she didn't want to marry me, she should have just said so. Don't act like this was all on me. That pretty much shut things down. Megan didn't respond again. Then Sarah's sister Rachel called. We'd always been cool. I figured maybe she wanted to check in. But the moment I picked up, she launched into it. Why did you cancel the wedding without talking to Sarah first? I couldn't believe it. Rachel, your sister blocked me. How exactly was I supposed to talk to her? She didn't have a good answer. Just kept saying Sarah was heartbroken and that I should have waited. Waited. For what? A return date that may never come. A conversation she clearly didn't care enough to have. I cut her off. Told her I wasn't going to keep having the same debate with everyone in Sarah's orbit. That night, Sarah messaged me again. A long text. Apologizing, kind of. Saying she was sorry for how things went down, not for what she actually did. One of those half apologies that tries to make it sound like both people are equally at fault. I didn't reply. I blocked the number and moved on. And for the first time in a long time, it felt like I was breathing again. I thought things were finally quieting down after that. I had blocked Sarah, her friends, her sister. I figured she'd run out of people to send my way. I was wrong. A week after Sarah's last attempt to contact me, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I wouldn't answer, but for whatever reason, I picked up. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? It was Sarah's mom, Lisa. Lisa had always had this overly sweet, almost fake energy about her. The kind of person who smiled while giving you backhanded compliments. So when she greeted me, like nothing had happened, like we hadn't just canceled a whole wedding, I wasn't exactly in the mood for small talk. I'm fine. Lisa, what's going on? That's when she started with the guilt trip. We were so looking forward to the wedding. Sarah's been crying every day since she got back. She's just a mess. I cut her off. Lisa, I'm sorry Sarah's upset, but she made her choices. I didn't cancel the wedding for no reason. Well, she said, maybe you overreacted a bit. Sarah was just nervous. Sometimes people make mistakes when they're stressed. Don't you think you should give her a second chance? I had to stop myself from laughing. A 6-week ghosting spree wasn't just a mistake. She had blocked me, vanished, went partying across Europe while I was left completely in the dark. That's not something you brush off with a nervous giggle. I tried to stay calm, with all due respect. Lisa, if Sarah had doubts, she should have talked to me, not disappear. But Lisa didn't stop. Think about all the years you've been together. You've had such a good relationship. Don't you want to save it? She had 6 weeks to reach out. She didn't. I've already made my decision. The wedding is off. That's final.
Celui-là qui est bloqué,
Lisa,
là.
in her
Appuie sur
typical
pause et faire
fashion,
ici, les gars.
ignored everything I just said.
Faire ici,
Well,
les gars. T'appuies
if
sur
you won't
pause et
talk
tu
to
vas avoir un
Sarah,
truc,
maybe you can come over for dinner.
remettre la
We
voiture
can
en
work through
position,
this
je sais plus
as a
ce que c'est.
family. I was
Parce
speechless.
que là, t'es dans une
Dinner.
galère, mon pote.
Like, this was just some argument about where to
Personne
host
avec
Thanksgiving. I told her thanks, but no thanks, and hung up. You'd think that'd be the end of it, right? Nope. The very next day, I got a message from Sarah's dad, Tom. Now, Tom was one of those old school guys who thought he was always right.
Pour ceux qui ont
He
la
never really
transmission
liked
adaptée,
me,
glisse
but he
autorisée dans les
tolerated me
paramètres.
for Sarah's sake. His message, not friendly. He said I was throwing away something good, that I was ruining Sarah's life by not giving her a chance to explain. My personal favorite line, men don't act like this. You should be standing by your fiancée, not running away at the first sign of trouble. I didn't even bother responding. What would be the point? Explaining myself to a man who already decided I was. The problem wasn't going to change anything. Then, a few days later, I got another long message. This time, from Sarah. From another new number. It was paragraphs long. She said she was sorry, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that she panicked. She claimed she didn't know how to handle the pressure of the wedding and needed time to think. So instead of talking to me, she blocked me.
Comment ça se fait qu'il y a un
And then
écart
she said the
derrière?
wildest thing yet. She still wanted to
Il y a
get
des gens que je
married.
vois pas ou...
After everything.
Ça ne
After
se passe
ghosting me.
volontaire?
Lying to her friends. Sending her entire family to convince me to take her
Et on a
back.
2, 3, 4
She thought we
voitures.
could still get married. I stared at the message for a long time. Not because I
Ah
didn't
ouais?
know what to say, but because I was amazed at the level of disconnect from reality. Part of
Je
me
me
was
disais
still
aussi, on est que
angry.
6.
Most of me
Donc, c'est
was,
pas-
actually.
on est censé être
But
complet.
there was a tiny
Ah ouais?
part that felt sad. We had spent years together.
C'est bien.
We had plans. I didn't imagine things ending like this. But the more I thought about it,
Faut pas le
the
payer,
clearer it
visiblement.
became. This wasn't just about the wedding or the trip. It was about trust. And once that's broken, no amount of apology can fix it. I couldn't marry someone who thought it was okay to vanish when things got hard. So I did what I should have done the first time. I blocked her again, deleted the message, and moved on. For
J'en
real,
vois
this
on est
time.
7 actuellement.
I didn't feel weighed down. I felt light. I wasn't carrying her guilt or her family's pressure. I was finally free to focus on what mattered, my future. But, of course, it wasn't over yet. A couple of days after that, I got a message from one of Sarah's bridesmaids, Katie. Now,
Ça manque
Katie
de
and I
soda.
weren't exactly close. She was more Sarah's friend than
Bonsoir,
mine.
Ice-One.
Her message started
Comment
off
vas-tu?
polite, asking how I was doing, saying she heard about everything. I kept it short. I'm fine. Just trying to move forward. Then she hit me with it. I think you should talk to Sarah.
Ah, tu
Here we
peux
go
déjà
again.
te taper? Ouais,
I
vas-y,
asked why she thought that. And she launched into
Ça
a
va, ça
long
va,
rant
merci.
about how Sarah was struggling,
Qu'est-ce
how
qui
she was
t'amène?
crying every day, how she regretted everything but was scared I wouldn't listen. I told Katie I already gave Sarah chances. She didn't take them. She blocked me for 6 weeks and expected me to just act like nothing happened when she came back. That's not something I can just forget. Katie tried again. She just needed space. She didn't mean to hurt you. I realized right then Sarah had sent Katie to do her dirty work. She didn't have the guts to face me herself. Look, I said, this isn't something that can be fixed with a few apologies. It's over. And with that, I blocked Katie. But just when I thought I was finally done with all of them, I got another message. This time from Sarah's cousin, Mark. One hadn't heard from him in months. He wanted to meet for coffee. I was curious, so I said yes. When we sat down, he looked nervous. Look, man, I know this whole thing's been a mess, but Sarah's been saying she wants to make it right. Maybe if you gave it time. I shook my head. Mark, she had her chance. She ghosted me. She cut me off like I didn't exist. That's not something you bounce back from. He nodded. Yeah, but what if she really is serious now? Then that's her business. I said, but I'm not interested. We sat in awkward silence for a bit. Eventually, he said, all right, I had to try. I get it. Thanks for reaching out. But this is over. We parted ways. I thought maybe, just maybe, that would be the last of it. I was wrong again. The next day, I got a message from Sarah's aunt. Someone I barely even knew. Just wanted to see how you're doing. I sighed. Did Sarah send you? Well, not exactly. But she's been struggling,
Ah, se met
and I
le long
thought
comme
maybe
ça,
I
hein.
could help mediate. I
Techniquement,
almost
il y a peut-être la
laughed.
place pour tout
There's
le monde.
nothing to mediate. We're done. She kept going on about love being worth fighting for, not throwing away a good relationship over a misunderstanding. That's when it really hit me. Sarah had clearly been feeding her family some dramatic story about how I had overreacted, how I gave up too soon. I didn't reply. I blocked her too. And after that, finally, things got quiet. No more messages, no more calls, no more random relatives popping up in my inbox. It felt like I could finally breathe again. About a month after everything went down, just when I thought I'd finally closed that chapter, I got a letter in the mail. Yeah, a letter. Like it was the 1800s or something. I almost didn't open it. But the handwriting looked familiar, and sure enough, it was from Sarah. It was long, several pages of handwritten confessions, regrets, and dramatic emotional outpouring. She said she missed me, said she regretted everything, blamed stress, blamed pressure, blamed the timing. But then came the part that made my stomach drop. She wrote, "I still have the key to your apartment. I hope that's okay." I sat there frozen. I had forgotten she even had one. I changed the locks when all this first started, but just reading that line made me uneasy. The thought that she might think she still had access to my home, that she might have used it without me knowing. I immediately got up and checked my doors again. Double locked, still secure, but the peace of mind, gone. As I kept reading, it got worse. She wasn't just apologizing, she was outlining a plan. A whole plan. She'd already spoken to her mom and scheduled couples counseling sessions for us. Without asking me, without even knowing if I wanted that. She assumed I'd go along with it. Like if she just put it all on paper and took action, I'd give in. She ended the letter by saying she hoped we could talk, and that she wanted to start fresh. I didn't get mad. Not this time. I was just done. So I wrote back. My first and last letter. I told her we were finished. There would be no counseling, no meeting, no fresh start. I asked her to return the key even though I had already changed the locks. And I made it clear I had moved on. She needed to do the same. I mailed the letter and felt good about it, like I had finally slammed the door shut. But of course, it wasn't over. A week later, I got another letter. Shorter this time. Not dramatic. She said she understood. Claimed she respected my decision. And then she said something that sent chills down my spine. She'd driven by my apartment a few times and noticed I wasn't home. She didn't say why, didn't say what she was hoping to see. But just the fact that she was checking up on me like that, creepy as hell. That was it. I wasn't going to let this turn into something out of a bad thriller movie. I called my landlord the same day, asked about installing extra locks, maybe even cameras. I wasn't taking any more chances. I needed to protect my space and my peace. And then, like it couldn't get any weirder, I got a call from my mom. She'd always had my back through all of this. But this time, her voice was serious. "Sarah came by," she said. "She showed up at the house. Said she wanted to talk about you. About everything." Apparently, Sarah had gone to my mom to try and convince her to talk me into taking her back. I was furious. Not only was she invading my space, but now she was dragging my family into it, trying to manipulate them. Thankfully, my mom shut her down, told her that I had made my choice and she needed to move on. Sarah cried, of course, but my mom stood her ground. I was grateful for that. That night, I made the final decision. I filed for a restraining order. It wasn't something I ever thought I'd have to do, but I wasn't going to wait for things to spiral further. I needed a clean break. I needed to feel safe. When Sarah got served the paperwork, that was the end. No more letters, no more calls, no more uninvited visits. It was quiet. Finally, I didn't feel good about having to go that far, but I knew it was the right call. What this whole thing taught me is simple. You are allowed to draw a line. You are allowed to say no. You don't owe anyone endless chances, especially when they've broken your trust. And more than anything, I learned that moving on isn't just about letting go of someone. It's about protecting your peace. It's about standing up for yourself when no one else will. So yeah, that's it. That's how it all ended. It wasn't easy. It was messy, painful, exhausting, but I made it through. And now I'm free. I don't look back anymore. I'm focused on what's next. And that, more than anything, feels damn good.